Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Good morning, everybody. Scuba, 2 cents. Sports coming at you with Week 8 NFL picks. How is everybody doing this morning? Hope everybody's doing great. It is, for me, 1:47 a.m. Yes, I'm doing this nice and early, just because there is a 9:30 a.m. game coming up here in about less than 8 hours. Yay me. Anyway, let's get right to it. Thursday night, of course, we had the Patriots and Dolphins. And I got to tell you, I am happy. The Patriots are 7-0. I expected so much more from the Dolphins offensively, and they were just atrocious, especially after what they'd been doing. Even though it was against a couple bad teams, I really expected the Dolphins to still be able to do something against this Patriots defense, but I don't know, this Patriots defense is playing pretty well. They're getting better every week, which should be scaring a lot of people because that offense isn't slowing down no matter who you're putting in front of them. Pats win big on Thursday night. Tom Brady is undefeated on Thursday night, and the Patriots were at home, which just added more fuel to the fire. And, of course, so now the Patriots move to 7-0. First team to move to 7-0. Now, I was another 8-6 last week. I had a couple games that just, including the Buccaneers, blew that 24-0 lead. It's just unbelievable. I'm still sick about it. But, until that team learns to win, those are the kinds of things that are going to happen to a team that's used to losing. And so, I'll settle with another winning week at 8-6, improve to 64-41 overall in the season. So, hey, that's not bad. A lot of people would love to have that. So let's continue on. So, of course, like I said, I did pick the Patriots over the Dolphins this week. And next up, we have the 9:30 game, which I just talked about. And you have the Lions and the Chiefs. Chiefs are technically the home game here. Lions have a new offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Cooter. Yes, that's correct. His name is Jim Bob Cooter. And if I'm the Lions at 1-6, I've fired my offensive staff and I got a new offensive coordinator. If I'm that offensive coordinator, I get Matthew Stafford to start getting the ball to Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate and Eric Ebron and get that ball and chuck it, get that offense going. And hopefully start getting something going in that running game that they just do not have. I'm going with the Lions this week. The Chiefs are just a mess as well offensively, although Charcandrick West in his second start in replace of Jamal Charles did pretty decent last week, and he probably will have another decent week this week. The Lions are struggling defensively, but I like the Lions this one over the Chiefs in London. Next up, we have the Chargers and Ravens. The Ravens just can't stop anybody offensively, and the Chargers themselves are just, offensively really just on fire right now. Unfortunately, they cannot stop anybody and had a tough one last week against the Raiders. Of course, as you can see, I'm going with the Chargers this week over the Ravens. Yes, the Ravens are a home team. This is going to be a lot of dog picks this week. Road dog picks this week. And the Ravens defense, they just can't stop anybody through the air. So this has all the makings of a Chargers win. And with the Ravens offensively only having really Steve Smith, a senior, who has just got fractures in his back. He hurt his knee in practice this week. He's just but he's a man. He's man. He's tough, and he'll be out there. Next up, you have the Cardinals and the Browns. Browns are sporting the worst rush defense in the league, giving up the most yards per game. I believe it's somewhere around 145 yards per game. It might even be more than that. Chris Johnson for the Cardinals, really kind of looking like his old self a little bit. And I'm going with the Cardinals here. Another big day for Chris Johnson. It's all set up for that to happen anyway. Look for some Andre Ellington, though, when they start getting into the red zone territory. And Carson Palmer, Larry Fitzgerald. Looks like they're probably going to sit John Brown this week, so look for Michael Floyd as a little sneaky pick in there if you're looking for a sneaky wide receiver pick. Next up, Vikings and the Bears. Bears are at home. Vikings and Teddy Bridgewater has found a brand new target, Stephon Diggs. If you have not heard of this kid yet, straight out of Maryland, and has really become a favorite of Teddy Bridgewater and has put up 3 straight weeks now of big games. And I look for that to continue because that Bears secondary is also one of the worst in the league. I like the Vikings to come into Chicago and take out the Bears this week. Another big game, NFC South matchup. Doesn't get much bigger than this. You got the Steelers at home and the Bengals come to town. The undefeated 6-0 Bengals. Steelers slipped up last week, fell to the Kansas City Chiefs, and just couldn't really get anything going offensively. But they do get Ben Roethlisberger back this week. That is huge. I know Antonio Brown must be licking his chops because since he's been out, Antonio Brown has just looked like an average receiver. But with Roethlisberger back, Antonio Brown should reestablish himself. Got Martavius Bryant, got Le'Veon Bell offensively. This could be a huge, big shootout game because the Steelers can put up some points, and the Steelers will certainly give up points because they also have a really bad secondary. And Andy Dalton is one of the top quarterbacks right now playing this season. He's got so many weapons right now. Of course, you all know AJ Green, Tyler Eifert, and Marvin Jones. Sanu. He's got all sorts of weapons out there. Giovanni Bernard, and hopefully Jeremy Hill will get something going this week. I'm going to go. Although the Steelers are at home, and the way the Steelers seem to be winning every other week, this is probably the week with Roethlisberger coming back, being at home, that they should win. But I am going with the Bengals. I think they just got a little bit better defense. I got to see where Ben Roethlisberger's at. I think he's going to be fine, though. He's a pretty tough guy, and he almost went last week. So, but this is one I'm going with the Bengals. And a game that really, unless you have fantasy implications, not sure why I would really pay much attention to it. Texans and Titans. The Texans are at home. Something's got to give here, folks. Both these teams are just brutal. Somebody's going to get their second win, and I think it's going to be the home team, Texans. We just won't talk much more about this one. Both these teams are just banged up severely. Interesting matchup this week. You got the Saints and the Giants. Saints are at home. Saints used to be good at home. That doesn't seem to matter much anymore. Offensively, it looks like Drew Brees, he still doesn't look quite right, but he's been playing a lot better of late, and I really like the way their Saints offense is coming along. You've had 2 straight weeks now of Eli Manning looking like I know Eli Manning to look. Have looked pretty bad, and this is an opportunity, though, for Manning and the Giants offense to get something going. The Saints are not that great, especially also in the secondary. I mean, does anybody have a good secondary? As I run down here, I'm like, does anybody here have a good secondary? It certainly doesn't seem like it. And so this could be some points put up in this game. But I do like the Saints at home here, and that's what I'm going to go with. Next up, you got the Rams and 49ers. Speaking of offensively challenged 49ers against a Rams defense that is just solid. I look for Colin Kaepernick to have a lot of trouble today, and I look for the Rams to win and to force some turnovers and to do some good things to help that offense that the Rams are really struggling with themselves. So I like the Rams today over the 49ers. Another game I'm not looking forward to watching. You got the Falcons at home and the Buccaneers going to town. Buccaneers just reeling up after that loss last week. This Buccaneers defense is just brutal, giving up more than 30 bones every week, and it's probably not going to be any different this week. Remember the Falcons at home last week got 56 on the Bucs. Not last week, last year, 56. With the way this Bucs defense is playing, that could happen again this week. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman. Look for big numbers out of all of them against this Bucs defense. Bucks offensively, we're really looking a lot better. Jameis Winston's had a couple good games in a row now, but Buccaneers got hit with some injury bugs last week. Lost Lewis Murphy for the year. Vincent Jackson's going to be out for a number of weeks, so it's basically and Severus Jenkins is also going to be out again this week. So it's basically going to be the Winston Evans show and some guys off the practice squad. It's not going to be a good one, folks. Obviously, got the Falcons big here. Another interesting matchup, and this is going to be my upset special of the week. Got the Raiders at home with the Jets coming to town. The Raiders have actually been playing pretty well on offense, and they just took it to the Chargers last week offensively. Jets are going to have pretty good matchups this week, but the Jets got to come across the town or across the country to come play the Raiders, who are at home. I'm going to go with the Raiders in this one as my upset special of the week, and see if the Jets can prove me wrong. Next up, you got the Seahawks and Cowboys. Cowboys are reeling again, losing to the Giants. They're slowly slipping out of it. They can't get Romo back fast enough. There's a lot of talk about Dez Bryant might be back this week. He may be. If he plays, I think it's going to be more of a decoy role or just to kind of get him out there on a handful of plays. I just don't see him playing a full slate of snaps, and I think it would be a mistake, quite honestly. The Cowboys just, with Matt Castle, why throw Dez Bryant back out there if he's not quite ready? But if he is, get him out there, let him play, maybe get something going. Of course, Joseph Randle, he's facing suspension. He left the team, and that's a kind of a mess too. McFadden seemed to get something going, but if he fails, well, I guess Christine Michael will be the guy. But I'm liking the Seahawks here. I think Dallas defensively can do something against the Seahawks, at least with their pass rush. Get to Russell Wilson and make things a little bit difficult. Marshawn Lynch is going to have a big week. But I think the Cowboys can give them a little bit of a fight, and being at home might help. Next up, got the Sunday night game. Got the Packers and the Broncos. Broncos are sporting the top defense in the league right now. Packers have one of the top offenses in the league right now. Now the Broncos, they're both teams, of course, we all know are undefeated. Somebody's going to walk out with the first loss, and I believe it's going to be the hometown Broncos. Broncos are winning in spite of Peyton Manning right now. If it were not for that Broncos defense, the Broncos would be doing quite horribly. Peyton Manning is just atrocious out there. He is such a liability right now. I mean, he just has nothing left, folks. It's kind of sad to kind of see what's going on there, but sad in the fact that you hate to see a player like Peyton Manning go out like that. I gotta assume that this is his last season playing, because who would want him back after this? There's still time to turn it around, but I just don't see it happening. I'm going with the Packers and the better offense here. Their defense isn't that bad, and the Broncos' offense is. So look for the Packers to win this one. And lastly, for the Monday night matchup, not a big one that really want to watch. Got the unbelievably undefeated Panthers still doing it. Cam Newton has just been Superman, like you say. I cannot believe the way he's carrying this team on his back. I mean, the Panthers really just don't have anything. But Jonathan Stewart actually has been running the ball quite well, and that's been helping a lot. But just Cam Newton's really literally doing this on his own, and of course that Panthers defense is pretty strong, and you got the Colts coming into town that they just can't seem to get anything right. They're getting a lot of garbage time. Something's just not right with Andrew Luck right now. There's a lot of things that are lining up in this game that say the Colts probably win this one. Just the law of averages. I just don't see how the Panthers keep pulling these games out of nowhere. But they are at home. They do have a good defense. The Colts offense is struggling for some reason. I'm not going to get crazy here. I really want to pick the Colts, but I got to stick with what's going on so far, and so I got to take the Panthers in this one. So there you have it. My 2 a.m. Clocks just went back. Now it's only 1 a.m., folks. Look at that. The clocks just literally changed back an hour, and I hope you remember to check your clocks and set them back as well. So now it's only 1 a.m., so kickoff in about 8.5 hours for that Lions-Chiefs game. I hope everybody had a nice, safe Halloween, that there were no problems. Hope your kids, if you have any, have lots of candy. And everybody has a great Sunday today, whether you're watching football or not, whether you're watching my show or not. I want everybody to have a safe one. Y'all take care. This is Scuba 2 Cents Sports and Entertainment coming at you live at 1 a.m. with this week's 8-week NFL picks. Bye-bye, everybody.